Missoula, Montana is probably not the first place you think of when you think of gay travel experiences in the United States, but I have to tell you, I was most curious about being here and exploring that theme here because I didn't know what to expect. Out of any place I've been in the US, this probably feels like the most random place in that I just had no context on people here, the vibe here. I've always thought of Montana as a super nature-oriented state. Just like Wyoming and Colorado, it's part of this strip of the West Coast in the US that is really predominantly, I think, known for that, for landscapes and majestic views. But what about the actual culture, right? What about the actual people? What is it like to be gay in a place like this? That's what I ventured out to find out. To be totally blunt, I did think this is gonna be a super conservative place, very few gay people, and probably no gay-friendly sort of signs, no symbols of that. Yes, of course, I was stereotyping and generalizing, but in places like this, typically you find that society is more homogenous. And I have to tell you, I'm actually pleasantly surprised by the diversity that I'm spotting. That doesn't mean that Missoula, Montana is super progressive and ahead of the curve and is like a modern day New York City. Don't twist my words, but I'm actually pleasantly surprised. Let's cut to the chase. I was shocked to see more than 2 Black people here, okay? There's actually more, I've seen more Black people walking around here than in Seattle, where I just was. So that was peculiar to me. Second, I discovered that the University of Montana is here, literally within a mile. So of course, whenever a place is a college town or a college is nearby, that completely affects the culture. It ends up being more youthful, typically more liberal and more progressive because you have an entire younger generation that is affecting the local economy there, right? And on top of that, I have to say, I'm noticing a lot of young people who are clearly college aged, working at the local bar or restaurant, who are very like trendy, like tatted up, piercings, unique hairstyles, unique clothing. I have to say, I guess maybe I was ignorant, but I just didn't think this would be that kind of place. I thought this would be a place where everybody's wearing flannel, hiking boots, and so on, and I was wrong. And on the LGBT side, I have to tell you, I've spotted a few people walking around who are definitely LGBT. I don't want to label somebody as trans without knowing them, but their gender was noticeably ambiguous, and in the way that they dressed, in the way that they expressed themselves, hairstyles, and so on, they clearly weren't shy about attention, getting attention. So again, I'm very surprised. What that tells me is that they feel safe here, right? If they're expressing themselves that way, they feel safe. And walking around downtown Missoula, I actually passed a few stores that had gay-friendly language. And you're seeing this more and more, not just in American cities, but American towns all over. Again, I did not expect to see this here. Now, that being said, the community here is for sure very small, which I imagine is a big challenge for locals. Opening up the apps, I noticed that you very quickly run out of profiles around you. On an app like Grindr that's GPS based, it very quickly goes from, you know, the next profile is 1,000 feet away, and then the next one after that is a mile away, and then before you know it, it's like there's profiles in the top 50 profiles close to you that are 20 miles away, 50 miles away, 90 miles away. I think this is one of those places where if you want to date somebody truly, or if you want to even hook up, have a hookup buddy, you have to be open to the idea that they might be 50 miles away, 100 miles away, an hour away driving wise, and so on. Another thing I noticed here with the apps is that some of the guys have been extremely persistent here, meaning I won't even respond to their message on an app like Grindr, and they'll just keep reaching out. Or maybe I responded once and they took that to mean I'm interested enough that every few hours, they're checking in. I still don't respond and they keep messaging. You know, culturally in bigger cities, or like Miami where I live, that's considered kind of culturally taboo with apps, right? Like if you don't hear back after the first time or the second time, you're kind of supposed to let it go because it's considered unsavory to keep like hounding somebody who's clearly not interested, right? But the fact that that's happened several times here makes me think perhaps culturally here in Missoula and in perhaps Montana in general, perhaps people are more assertive. Maybe it's both in straight men and gay men and perhaps women too, that people are more so like they go for what they want and they don't care about social ramifications or cultural ramifications. They just do what they want. It might be a reach to say this, but it made me think like this is one of those kind of mountain towns, right? People have a lot of these natural outdoors skill sets, right? So could it be that builds a certain kind of personality type where you're more assertive and go for what you want no matter what? I don't know. But that's it for my take on Missoula, Montana. I know it's a very quick take, and I've only been here for 48 hours, but I wanted to at least share those first impressions of walking around here as a gay person and sort of trying to put myself in the shoes of what it would be like to live here as a gay person. Catch you next time when I'm in Portland, Oregon.